All right, Larry Krueger here at Levi Stadium with a recap before we head for the door. Wrapping things up here at Levi's, and of course, we're brought to you by Pig and a Pickle. Two spots in Corte Madera and Emeryville, and they're open 7 days a week from 11 a.m. till 8 p.m. Check them out, the best barbecue in Northern California. And of course, we're also brought to you by Underdog Fantasy. Thanks to Underdog for sponsoring this video. Check that link in the description. Use the promo code Krug, and they will match you up to your first $100. Well, just a wrap on everything here in Santa Clara. Niners lose to the Rams 21-20. There was some good, there was some bad. I think, things that stood out tonight. One, I mean, the Niners have avoided serious injury. Cleveland Farrell went down with a knee injury. I had a chance to talk to him in the locker room after the game. He said, if it had been the Super Bowl, he would have stayed in. And that it was more precautionary than anything else. We'll find out in the next 24 hours to what level he is hurt. That was a negative. One other negative, Jake Moody missed a field goal, relatively short field goal from 38 yards and a PAT. So that's become a primary concern, I'm sure, for Kyle Shanahan. He said, he talked about it afterwards. He said, hey, the goal is to make all these kicks, right? And anytime your kicker misses kicks, it's a concern. So at the same time, he didn't seem like he wanted to move on from Jake Moody. They could call Robbie Gould, I'm sure, but I don't think they're in that spot yet. But obviously they're concerned about that. Sam Darnold, though, was solid today. He completed 74% of his passes in the first half. He got some reps. He shook off the rust. He maybe gave the 49ers a look at what it may look like if he had to play in the playoffs, and I thought he looked good. The Niners sat out 9 guys, 9 key players, really 10 if you want to include Trent Williams, who only played 2 series. But there was no Kittle, no Greenlaw, no Purdy, no CMC. JJ, Juwan Jennings didn't play. Tayshaun Gibson, Eric Armstead, Jair Brown, Ambry Thomas, none of these guys went. And that was a good thing. And, some of their younger players got some reps and some good reps. I mean, J.P. Mason went for 6 yards a carry. He looked good. I thought Darrell Luter looked good in coverage tonight. Womack had a couple plays that he almost made. He was around the ball. A lot of people say, oh, he got roasted. We'll see what the film looks like when I really break it down. But, I thought Womack was in play in areas to make plays. And the Niners have 5 young DBs they're going to lean on this year, and he's one of them. Ronnie Bell played a role. I thought we saw a great highlight from Chris Conley, who had a near 50-yard reception on a pass from Sam Darnold. Taylor Hawkins had a diving interception. I thought Hawkins is an underrated player. He was a corner at San Diego State. He was one of the best players on that Aztec defense. Came to camp last year, thought he was going to be a safety, bulked up, probably got a little too heavy, didn't have quite the movement skills. This year he showed up in camp looking like a completely different player. That whole redone his body, looked much faster, looked much more like the corner who played at San Diego State. And he just got caught up in a numbers game and got cut at the cut down and eventually came back to the practice squad. And I think, Niner fans got to look today at Taylor Hawkins. And I was saying it for the last couple of weeks. Taylor Hawkins can play football. He can play coverage. And if you're going to have a backup safety, what would you want out of your backup safety? You want somebody who's reliable in coverage, and Taylor Hawkins absolutely is that. And then I thought if there's one, real positive from today, it's the play of Robert Beal Jr., the defensive end from Georgia. And I had a chance to talk to him after the game. I said, man, you got the Jordans on. You were looking fast. He got his first sack. He said his girlfriend bought him the Jordans for Christmas, and Chris Kocurek loves what he sees in Robert Beal Jr. This kid's coming on. 6'4", 250, 4.48 speed off the edge. And I just talked to him. I said, how are you a different player from the player that we saw in training camp? And he's like, I just learned so much technique from watching Randy Gregory and watching Chase Young and watching Nick Bosa and, practicing and working out and listening to Chris Kocurek. And he's got a couple of moves now. He loves his rip through move. And he's got a couple of moves that are real foundation piece moves. And Beal has got, that speed. You can't coach 4.48 speed at 250 pounds. So this guy, if Farrell is down for any period of time, I think there's a reasonable expectation that Robert Beal could step in and give the Niners a dangerous edge rusher with a ton of speed. I mean, speed is the name of the game in the NFL. And there's a reason they drafted that kid, and you're seeing it right now. So To me, if there was one overwhelming positive from today, it's that Robert Beal is coming on as an edge rusher with big speed. And if you got a great defensive line, and the Niners do, and you got Nick Bosa on the other side, and you got pass rushers inside like a Javon Hargrave, Kevin Givens, guys that can really rush the passer. What do you want ideally on the other side? You want somebody with such incredible speed that it stretches their offensive line, the opposing team's offensive line, because they got to account for Beal coming off the edge. And when you have a guy opposite Nick Bosa that can run like Beal, that means that tackle is dealing with Beal and his speed and everything that he possesses, and that means that you can't double as easy on Hargrave and you can't double as easy on Bosa. So I thought that watching Beal come of age, and I've been hearing whispers coming out of practice, and we only get a chance to see the first part of practice, and we don't get a chance to see the team portion. But a lot of the indications I've been getting is that Beal is looking really good in a lot of these practices. And I thought maybe it was they're just trying to boost his confidence. Maybe it was a little bit of PR spin. But man, just watching him last week against the Commanders and then watching him today, his that movement ability is elite. And he really, there's all kinds of nuances to playing defensive end, and it's a technique rich position for sure. And he's not going to fulfill his potential for 2, 3, 4 years down the road. But if this kid can just get out of his stance, dip that shoulder, and get the edge, he's going to contribute an awful lot to this 49er pass rush right now. Not in the 2 years. We're talking about right now, like in a couple weeks when they go play this divisional game. Robert Beal is going to be a nice player to at least have in the mix there. He's super athletic. He's got his head screwed on straight. Talked to him for a few minutes, and really impressive young kid. So it's interesting. Some rookies start off hot and finish slow. It's rare that you see a rookie be able to play the full season and make a consistent contribution throughout the year and be productive. Usually they have half years. They either start fast and get hurt, or they start really slow and they come on. Well, this guy looked good in camp. I remember the one day in July where he's playing defensive right end and he's going up against Trent Williams, and he dips the shoulder, got parallel to the ground, and just absolutely waltzed by Trent Williams and everybody at camp. And everybody knows Trent Williams is a future Hall of Famer. Trent Williams is a super special player. And there was just this kind of hush. It was like, did you see that? Did you see Robert Beal just absolutely blow by Trent Williams? And it only happened once or twice in the entire camp. It was just a glimpse of the kind of big time skill and speed that this kid possesses. And to see him coming of age right now, that could be a major piece of the puzzle for the 49ers in their pursuit of this 6th Lombardi. All right, that's going to do it for us. Thanks to Pig and a Pickle. Thanks to Underdog Fantasy. Thanks to all of you guys for supporting The Krug Show on YouTube.